Hey guys, so it is that time again for another Q&A video. I didn't get too many questions this time around, so I'm only going to answer the ones that I was given. But please feel free to ask any random questions. A couple of examples might be, no one's asked me about past jobs yet. I have had some interesting jobs. I can't talk about all of them. And I can't actually talk that much about the one that I have right now, but that might be an interesting question, or just whatever comes to mind. But I'll jump into this month's and maybe it'll spur on some questions for next month. So I'm looking over here because my questions are all on my laptop over here. So someone asked, what is your favorite book series and why? So series means that it has to have multiples. So tricky. My first gut instinct is Harry Potter. Just because I remember being a kid and having the books come out and instantly running to Costco or some sort of bookstore to try to pick up the latest book and just being so excited. And I remember, taking the book underneath my covers in bed and having a flashlight, legitimately having a flashlight, reading in bed, and my mom knew that I was reading in bed and she'd come in and I'd hide the light and pretend I was sleeping and then wait for her to leave and then start reading again. So those definitely hold a special place for me. I also really liked the Hunger Games books. I remember turning the pages of that really quickly. And then as a more odd choice is probably the Wayfarer Redemption series, which is by Sarah Douglas, I believe. It's a long series. I've read it only once, and I read it when I was pretty young, and it does have some more mature content, so I think that kind of all went over my head, honestly, and I kind of want to reread them, but I do remember being really interested in those books. Who do you think would realistically win in a fight, X-23 or Wolverine? Well, let me tell you, friends, X-23 would absolutely win. There is an entire video on this. If you want to see the video, let me know and I can link it to you. But someone actually did the science and crunched the numbers behind who would win and why. And it's X-23 hands down. She's just as strong as the Wolverine. She basically is the Wolverine, but as a girl, which doesn't have any say in her strength or anything. If anything, it might make her more agile. But if you're looking at mechanics, one example that they talk about in the video, X-23 has 2 claws, Wolverine has 3. Now, pseudoscience for you. When you slice into something, when you use a knife to cut fruit or whatever, it's one point of contact that's able to easily slice through. The more points of contact you have, the more surface area there is, so the tension is spread out over a larger surface, and you're not actually going to get as deep of cuts with more blades, essentially. So if Wolverine was slicing a person, per se, but this is person, and he took his 3 claws and went along like this, yeah, it would hurt like hell and it would probably kill somebody. But with 2 claws, there's less surface, or there's less, how to word, the force is not spread out over as much space because there's only 2 points of contact rather than 3. So if I had a water balloon and if I pushed down on it with 3, the dents would not go as far down as it would with 2. So if X-23 were slicing a person, these slices would be much deeper, much cleaner, and much more deadly. And she has toe claws. Wolverine does not. So definitely X-23, but again, please watch the video. It's amazing, and he goes so sciencey into it, and I love that. Who is my favorite Seahawks player? I have a cop-out answer for that. Pete Carroll. I love Pete. He's the head coach, for those who don't know. He just cracks me up, and I wish he was my uncle, He has this warmth about him. I've met him. He's very nice. He also has just this go attitude where he's just like, oh, hi, how's it going? He has something else to do. But he truly cares about his players, and he seems to know how to foster a family type feeling within a team. So I love Pete for that, and his chewing gum, oh my gosh. But yeah, Pete Carroll. But if I had to choose a player, Russell Wilson, just because he seems like he has a heart of gold. He truly does care about children and those who are more needy. And, you know, he goes to charity events and stuff, and that's awesome. Okay, last question. What is your favorite movie or movie series? This is really tough because I recently saw Black Panther and I loved it. So that's probably in a couple of my top movies now. I don't know if it's number one yet. I kind of have to mull everything over. But Black Panther was amazing. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. Not to spoil anything at all, but I love the emphasis that they put on race, on inequality, and holy crap, you guys. All of the warriors in Wakanda, the strongest warriors are women. And it was like, we saw that in Wonder Woman, of course, but to see that played out in a movie where a male was a lead and still showing that even if this guy is a lead and there are still other guys in Wakanda, the females are chosen as the strongest warriors. And that just blew my mind. And having his sister be so techy and inventive but funny and quirky and just, oh god, it was so good. But besides Black Panther, I also really loved The Theory of Everything, which is about Stephen Hawking. That was really good, as was The King's Speech. Oh my gosh, The Greatest Showman, duh. That was amazing too, and the songs got stuck in my head so fast, let me tell you. As for like a series, not The Hunger Games, like I mentioned for like my favorite book series, I thought the movies were really good. But the last two movies, so like looking at the last book, they kind of strayed from what the book talked about, and I didn't really like that much. But probably, this is another cop-out answer, sorry, but Black Mirror, you guys might have seen it on Netflix. Yes, it's technically a show, but each episode is an hour long and stands alone. So I kind of think of that as maybe a series. But they're kind of psychological thrillers in a way, where every episode makes you think about something, which sounds cliche, but the episodes are really deep and they really get into some interesting mechanics of humanity and morals and what would you do kind of situations, and I really like that about it. So those are my answers for you this month. Please, like I said, feel free to leave questions in the comments or in another post, or you can message them to me if you don't want them to be publicly posted. And I would love to keep answering these questions for you guys. So thank you for these questions. Huge thank you to Josh, because he asked most of them. But I will talk to you all soon. I cannot wait to show you the things that I'm working on. And I hope you have a wonderful day and happy March. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.